So starting off, what you're going to need first is a small electronics repair toolkit. Just a Phillips head screwdriver, and in some cases you may need the flathead screwdriver. I just like these screwdrivers because they get into those little deep narrow holes in the laptops where screws are hidden, and you can get in and work quite easily with them. One downside is that sometimes if you're doing this for the first time, your laptop screws are kind of hard in there, so you don't get much grip with this, but you can just easily take a pair of pliers or something and grip the screwdriver with it to sort of get the screw out of it. The other thing you're going to need is some solder. Hopefully you have thinner solder than I have. I'm just too cheap to go out and buy the smaller stuff, but it still worked for me. And you're also going to need a soldering tool. Doesn't matter if you get one of these cheap little $4 or $5 soldering guns, or you get one of those precision tip soldering irons. Just make sure you have something to solder your AC adapter back with. So let's get started. First of all, I'm just going to flip over the laptop so we can access everything at the bottom that we need to disconnect before we start unscrewing and disconnecting things at the top. So the first thing you need to do is remove the battery. Set that aside somewhere safe. The next thing you need to do is remove these three doors. Here's the hard drive bay door, here's the wireless card door, and here's your door for your sticks of RAM. So just easily remove these. Now the door on the hard drive and the RAM bay has screws which don't come out of the door. They're permanently mounted in there. There's no way you can remove them, so that's a nice thing because you don't end up losing these screws. So you can just set those aside somewhere. Okay, here's the RAM bay door. So easily pull that out. And here is the door for the wireless card. Now this does have a removable screw. Well, actually it doesn't. Actually all of them. So that's pretty good that they don't have it. So now we're going to remove all three of these devices. To remove the hard drive, I'm not too sure if this one came with screws or not, since I've done this repair a couple of times and ended up losing some screws. So maybe yours is screwed down, but if it's not, you just pull this black tab to remove the hard drive, lifts straight out, and you can go ahead and set that aside. To remove the sticks of RAM, just pull the tabs on each side of them, and they should pop up and out of the way where you can lift and remove. To remove the wireless card, you're going to need to place your screwdriver behind the wires so that you're not doing any damage to the card or the wire heads, and just pull straight up so that they snap off quite easily. Then you're going to want to do the same thing you did with the RAM base. Just pull the tabs back, remove the wireless card, setting it aside. Next, you're going to want to grab a couple of containers to put your screws in, because the screws I'm going to remove now are the ones that aren't mounted to a door or something that you can easily find them. So first of all, what we're going to remove is the optical drive locking screw. It's just the same as all the other screws on the bottom. And let's see. Whoops, didn't want to do that. What we're actually going to have to do is turn over the laptop each time to let the screw come out. Usually I'm not doing this on camera, so it's a little difficult for me. And basically you want to keep track of that screw, so put it on top of wherever you're going to place your optical drive so that you're not losing it. Okay. Next we're going to remove the screws around the outer four edges. These screws are very important because they are the longest screws in the notebook, and they are different from any other screw in the notebook. So at each of the corners, I hope you see this, there's 4 long screws, and then also at this corner right here closest to the VGA port, there's also, let me see if I can get that on camera, there's also another long screw. So in total there's 5 long screws that need to be removed. They're at each 4 corners, and this little corner right above your VGA output. So the four corners. I'm just going to remove these four long screws, placing them in a separate container from any of the other screws. And on this specific laptop, my screw in this corner doesn't remove for some reason. I think it's just this specific one they're supposed to remove. So it just stays in there, doesn't fall out or anything when I take the bottom case off. So if yours doesn't come out, don't worry about it. Next, what we're going to remove is the battery bay screws. They're the little silver screws in the battery bay. Again, keep a separate container for those because they're different from any of the other screws in the laptop, except for, I believe, 4 screws under the keyboard, which I'll show you a little bit later. Just as long as you keep the screws separated, because if you put a screw of a different length in the wrong hole, you can end up screwing through the motherboard. So keep track of where you have short screws and long screws. So we're just going to remove all of these screws. And again, I'm putting them in a separate container so that I know where to put them when I start reassembling the notebook. And we got 2 last ones right here. And actually, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to remove that little corner screw above the VGA port. That's again another long screw, so I'll just go ahead and remove that now and place that with the other long screws. So really should be turning this over, but there you go, that's the other long screw. Okay, next we're going to remove all of the other screws at the bottom. I don't have many at the bottom since this was sitting in a box for 2 years with screws just constantly falling out, so I'm missing about 3 or 4 screws at the bottom. But these are just the regular size screws that you'll find all around the notebook. And again, I'm just going to use this wireless card door to place the normal length screws in. And again, like I said, I'm missing quite a few of them, so it's possible that I won't be doing many of them at all. Okay, I believe this is another one. I'm missing about 3 or 4 at the bottom, like I said. Just turn it over, shake it out. And we have the last screw at the bottom, this little area under your latch to unlatch the screen. This is where the last screw is on this notebook. You should have about 3 or 4 more screws in different locations, all of the same length. So now that all of the screws are off the bottom, what we're going to do is turn over the notebook and open up the screen. And what we're going to do is take our flathead screwdriver. Hopefully this is showing up on the screen right. I have a very limited workspace here. And what we're going to do is we're going to pop up these little plastic hinges right here. Just fit your screwdriver in the little corner here and pop up these little plastic hinges on each side. Very easy to do. Once you do that, completely pull off this little cover right here and set that aside. Next, we're going to remove the keyboard, and like I said, this laptop's missing a few wires. First I need to grab my Phillips head screwdriver and remove these 2 inner screws. I'm missing the outer screws. You should still have your inner screws. Set those aside. And pull the keyboard forward, laying it flat on top of the touchpad. And you're going to take a look at this ribbon cable. At this ribbon cable, we have 2 little tabs, 2 little brown tabs on each side. What we're going to do is take our screwdriver, push those forward. That unlocks the lock on the ribbon cable. Once you're sure it's unlocked, just lightly pull it away